Well, welcome everyone to the Village of Bartlett, hopefully final virtual meeting, board meeting for June 16, 2020. I call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Kammerer,
Here.
Carbonaro,
Present.
Daney,
Here.
Cabrera,
Here.
Hopkins,
Here.
Ranky,
Present.
President Wallace.
Here. And in lieu of the Pledge of Allegiance this evening, just wanted to mention a few things. We'll just have a few minutes of silence. Obviously, continued concern for COVID patients and their families, also with first responders, and certainly in this time, try to keep all police departments in your prayers around the country. So just a moment of silence for all of those things would be appreciated. Thank you. Moves us on to our consent agenda this evening. All items listed with an asterisk will be acted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion on items on the consent agenda. At this point, would any board member like to add or remove anything from the consent?
President Wallace, I'd like to add item A1 to the consent agenda.
Does anyone have any questions or would want to have some discussion around A1? If so, I will give you a minute here to let me know not to add it.
I can live with it.
I'm good with it.
I'm fine.
All right, with that being said, I will entertain a motion to amend the consent agenda to include the following. The amended consent agenda will include the board and committee minutes from June 2nd, 2020, the bills list from June 16, 2020. The consent this evening will also be adding under Building and Zoning Committee, item A1. Consent also will be including under Building and Zoning, item A2. The consent this evening also includes under Finance and Golf Committee, item C1.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Carbonaro, seconded by Trustee Daney. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Hopkins,
Yes.
Ranky,
Yes.
Kammerer,
Yes.
Carbonaro,
Yes.
Daney,
Yes.
Cabrera.
Yes.
That motion carries. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve the amended consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, I believe, and seconded by Trustee Hopkins. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Ranky,
Yes.
Kammerer,
Yes.
Carbonaro,
Yes.
Daney,
Yes.
Cabrera,
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next item on our agenda this evening is the Treasurer's Report. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you. Included in your packet tonight was the Treasurer's Report for the month of April. I want to say these are preliminary numbers. This is our last month of the year, and we will be making adjustments to them for our final audit. Also included is the sales tax report. We did receive $193,930 for the month of February. That was up $23,000. That reflects February's activity, so we were up then. Also included is the MFT report. We received $131,268. $79,380 was from the old MFT, so that was up a couple thousand. And then we received another $51,888 for the new transportation fund. So that's it for the Treasurer's Report, unless there's any questions.
Does anyone have any questions regarding that info?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Next item is the President's Report. There's nothing on the agenda. I just wanted to say a couple of words to our police department. I would like to extend our sincere appreciation for their professionalism. Like to let the chief and all the department know that I have personally received several people reaching out to me just saying how much they trust and appreciate our police department. So from the president and assuming the entire board, you have our full support and appreciation.
Thank you, Mayor.
Next item is our question and answer. Anybody have any questions for staff? Hearing none. Chris, can you check to see if we have anybody wanting to speak in town hall?
We don't have anybody that registered ahead of time, and I don't currently see anybody with their hand up looking to speak.
All right, anyone that's tuned in via video and or a voice only, you can raise your hand if you go down under participants and open up that participant window. I believe there's an option there to raise your hand, or you can go into the chat. I'll give you one more minute. Is that a dog that wants to say something?
Not me.
You should speak.
Anything, Chris?
No, we have no one.
All right, thank you. Moving on, standing committee reports. Building and Zoning Committee, Chairman Hopkins.
Thank you, President Wallace. Our items A1 and A2 were covered under the consent agenda tonight. There's nothing else.
Thank you, Chairman Hopkins.
Excuse me, before we move on, I would ask that we make a separate motion on A1. I realized there was only one item on the consent added to the consent, but we're now operating under Senate Bill 2135 that passed on late Friday. And before that, we were operating under the governor's executive order that waived the requirement of a physical quorum. Under this new law, one of the requirements is that all votes are conducted by roll call, so each member's vote on each issue can be identified and recorded. I let it go because there was only one item added, but there were two other items on the consent agenda. So I know it's a little extra work here, but I think we should.
So you want us to call each one?
Yes.
Even though they were on consent?
Yes, because it's a brand new law.
Okay.
I don't know that it recognizes our voting by consent. So
Okay, Chairman Hopkins, do you have that writing in front of you to
Yes, I do.
make the motion?
Yeah, I move to approve ordinance 2020-55,
55.
an ordinance approving a site plan, granting special use permits and granting a variation for 555 West Lake Street.
So move. Second. Sorry.
It's moved by Trustee Hopkins, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Kammerer,
Yes.
Carbonaro,
Yes.
Daney,
Yes.
Gabrenia,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Ranky.
Yes.
That motion carries.
We also have the building code update, which I move the passage of ordinance 2020-56, an ordinance amending Title 9 of the Building Municipal Code to amend and restate the Bartlett building code entirely.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Hopkins, seconded by Trustee Daney. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Carbonaro,
Yes.
Daney,
Yes.
Gabrenia,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yeah.
Ranky,
Yes.
Kammerer.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Thank you,
That's all we
Trustee
have under
Hopkins.
Building and zoning tonight. Thank you, President Wallace.
Thank you, Chairman Hopkins. Next item, Community and Economic Development Committee Chairman Cabrera.
We have nothing on our committee this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Cabrera. Finance and Golf Committee Chairman Daney. Even though it is on the consent, would you kindly read out the resolution or make the motion for the resolution?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. President. I move to approve Resolution 2020-57, a resolution approving for the disbursement request for payout number 17 from the subordinate lien tax increment revenue note series 2016 for Elmer's Chicago Stone Bartlett Quarry redevelopment project.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Kammerer. Let me just make a quick correction. I'm seeing request for payout number 16. Is that
It
accurate?
is 17.
It is 17. Okay. And also, is that the right resolution number?
It is.
Okay. So moved by Trustee Daney, seconded by Trustee Kammerer. Is there any discussion on that?
I was paying attention to the resolution number, Mr. President.
Thank you. If there's no other discussion, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Daney,
Yes.
Cabrera,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Ranky,
Yes.
Kammerer,
Yes.
Carbonaro.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Mr. President, that's all we had on our agenda for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Daney. License and Ordinance Committee, Chairman Ranky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing this evening for license and ordinance.
Thank you, Chairman Ranky. Police and Health Committee, Chairman Carbonaro.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing under police and health this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Carbonaro. Public Works Committee, Chairman Kammerer.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have nothing under Public Works this evening.
Thank you, Chairman Kammerer. Brings us down to new business. Does anybody have any new business they would like to discuss?
No.
Any questions for staff? Somebody needs a tissue.
Mayor, I would just note for the record that I'm in Village Hall as our representative to fall under that Senate bill that Brian noted. And we also determined that because of the continuing emergency, it would not be practical or prudent to have our meeting with a live forum tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Administrator. Any other questions? Any other new business that anybody would like to discuss? There is no the whole meeting for those that are watching, so we won't be even bring a committee of the whole. There's no agenda items on it. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second?
By Trustee Kammerer, seconded by Trustee Carbonaro. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Cabrera,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes.
Ranky,
Yes.
Kammerer,
Yes.
Carbonaro,
Yes.
Daney.
Yes.
We are adjourned.